Hey everyone, this is Kelsey Balt. Welcome to Devoted Cowgirl, a podcast where I talk about my life as a Christian horsewoman. Every week we'll dive into topics like growing your faith, improving your barrel racing, and how those things intertwine in my life. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm super glad you're here. Welcome back everybody to another episode of Devoted Cowgirl. This week I am going to talk to you about something kind of like I do every week. I guess I'm just going to jump right in because that's how I feel like doing it. So it's almost a couple weeks ago now. I was at a Western Horsemen of Oregon show at my favorite arena of all time, Strobel's Arena. And I had a pretty darn fantastic day. I ended up with the fast time in 3 out of the 5 individual events and had the fastest time I've ever ran in poles on Stella with a 20.436. I ran an 8.0 in flags on Blitzen, and I ran a 14.1 in barrels on Stella. And I was pretty stoked about it, and I have been gunning for that 13-second barrier in barrels on that size pattern. And I was super stoked to do it on Sunday. And then I got a phone call. And it's the phone call that no wife wants to get. And it was the phone call that as soon as I saw who it was calling, I went, oh no, what happened? And so to give you a little backstory, while I was at the WHO show, my husband was out at a race, an overnight race. He does enduro stuff on his dirt bikes. And so he was in Tillamook State Forest, which was about an hour and 20 minutes away from where I was. And it started at 7 and was supposed to go to 7 in the morning. And my phone rang at about 9:15. And it was a friend of ours that I knew was there. And as soon as I saw her name pop up on the screen, I went, oh no. And I knew something happened because if he would have done something stupid but not been pretty well injured, she would have just shot me a text message, or he would have been texting me. But I got the phone call. And it was he's okay, but this is what happened. And long story short, he ended up with a very lucky outcome of a concussion and severe whiplash. Fast forward almost 2 weeks, and he's doing significantly better. Still struggling a little bit with range of motion, but when you get knocked out for a few minutes and get your bell rung with a helmet on, yeah, you're bound to be sore for a little while after that happens. And so my dad went with me to go pick him up, and I picked him up and took him to the hospital, but my dad and I had an hour plus to chat on the way down to where he was at. And on our travels, we started talking about the differences in people that have money. And, well, he was talking about having to pay your dues. And so he was saying he is heavily into the motorsports industry. And what he always tells people that talk to him in the motorsports industry is that no matter who you are or where you start, you're always going to have to pay your dues. And if you start out and you're winning everything and it's really easy, that likely just means you're going to have to pay your dues later, whether that's in the middle of your career or at the end or somewhere. Those dues are going to be needing to get paid. And, we were talking about my journey to get where I am today and the different horses that I've ridden and the struggle bus that I've been riding and how long it's taken me to figure stuff out and get where I am today. And it just was I said something that I want to reiterate to you guys and just remind you that, like, without the struggle, the successes don't mean as much. And I say that because when I was younger, not that I'm ancient by any means, but when I was in high school and I was successful and winning stuff, I had to do it on the horses that I made. And I've never been, I mean, I did good where I was competing, but I've never been at the level that I am now. And I appreciated where I was and how I was performing and succeeding and all that stuff. But it wasn't until I went through the struggle that I did a few years ago with my mental game, and the struggle that I'm still going through, trying to figure out how to ride this caliber of horses that I have, and the down barrels and the down poles and all the frustration that's come from it. If I would have ran that 20.436 second run when I was younger, yeah, I would have been excited, but I don't think I would have appreciated that run as much as I do now, because I have been through all the valleys and the highs and the lows, and I've ridden the roller coaster that is making your own horses. And I guess the purpose of this episode is just to encourage people out there that listen that if you are in the season of paying your dues, like, just hang tight. Keep paying your dues, keep putting in the work, and eventually it's going to pay off. And I don't mean that to say that, like, everybody at some point in their life is going to win the 1D and be there at that level. And that's not the case. And I'm not saying that has to be your goal anyways. Like, maybe you don't want to be at that level and you just want to succeed at the level that you're at, that next level. And if you're paying your dues and you're working your buns off and you're working hard, it will pay off. And you're not going to be at the top forever. I talked about it a couple weeks ago about who your friends are and how you're celebrating them no matter where you're at and where they're at. And what I said to my dad was just that for me, and this might be different for other people, I said the good stuff I don't think would have meant as much to me had I not struggled, had I not gone through the crap that I went through to get where I am. And so I feel like anybody who goes through a whole bunch of stuff will tell you that once you get to the other side, it makes it all worth it. And I'm not going to, like, I'm still going to struggle, and I'm still going to have runs where I can't figure out my rear end from my elbow. And, like, we're all going to have those runs and we're all going to have bad days. But what I want to just remind you guys, coming from a person that is on kind of the other side, is that it does get better. And if you keep grinding and you keep getting 1% better and just looking for those little improvements, one day you're going to look up and you're going to be farther past any expectations than you ever dreamed to have. Like, I remember when I was in 4-H and I won my first medallion in 4-H because I ran a 23-second pole run. And I was ecstatic to run a 23-second pole run. And I honestly couldn't tell you the last time I ran a 23-second pole run. Like, even my bad runs on my horses are still 22-second pole runs. And it is, I have been tiptoeing around like the 20-second pole run mark for a long time, and Slinky's gotten close a few times, and I'm a little partially heartbroken that I never got to break that barrier with him before his injury. But, like, I was happy squeaking into the 20s. I mean, my first 20 I ever ran was a 20.7, and that was like, I was cool with that. That was fast enough for me, and I'm ecstatic. And then I ran a 20.9, and I was through the roof for that one. And this last run that I ran was a 20.4, like well into the 20s, and it wasn't even perfect. And I watched I remember thinking, like, I turned my pole by my timers, and like I could have packed a lunch and ate it. That's how long it felt like we took to get around that corner. And it was still a 20.4. And wrapping my head around the fact that my horse probably could have been pretty dang close to a 19-second pole run if we would have smoked that in pole. Like, it's mind-boggling. It's beyond my wildest dreams. And so I didn't get here by always focusing on that end goal, the time that I wanted to run. Yeah, it was always there at the back of my mind, but I got here by keeping my head down and getting 1% better every time. And I just want to encourage those of you, when you're going through the struggle, just keep your head down and keep going. Put one foot in front of the other, get 1% better. And when you're in the I don't want to say the doldrums, when you're in the low spots, the valleys, the craptastic times, find one small thing to celebrate in every run. Because if you keep nitpicking all the things that went wrong, that's what you're going to repeat. And if you can learn to hang on to all the things or at least one good thing from every run, you're going to start looking for those good things. And those good things are going to keep happening more and more. And you got to know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And if you have been training a horse and you're struggling to swap from trainer mode to jockey mode, here's what I want to tell you. In the words of Elsa, let it go. And it's hard. It is so hard to switch from that trainer brain to the jockey brain, or from safe mode to letting it all hang out. And you don't know what's going to happen until you let it all hang out. And once you let go of trying to make the perfect run every time, stuff's going to start to come together. And you don't know what's going to happen until every once in a while you let it all hang out. And so I encourage you guys not only to just keep pushing through the hard stuff, but also put on your big girl panties and go make a run. Like, ride these horses like you know what you're doing and they know what they're doing. Quit riding scared. And I don't know who I'm talking to out there, but like, let go. You ain't going to get any better if you don't push yourself and make yourself uncomfortable. If you stay in your safe zone, you're never going to get any better. And so you got to push yourself. You got to push your horse a little bit. And sometimes you just got to let it all hang out. Go for broke. See what happens. It might surprise you. Because I bet there's a lot of you guys out there that have been keeping it safe, staying safe, keeping it slow, and you're messing up patterns. So what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to mess up the pattern going fast? At least then you're growing and you're getting better and you're pushing yourself. So on that note, I'm going to let y'all go. And just remember, celebrate the little wins. Strive for progress, not perfection. And know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a review on your listening app of choice. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and you can also check out our website, www.devotedcowgirl.com, for any important show notes and some other updates. I'll see you next week.